Hello, welcome back to November, the Power of No. Today we are doing episode 14 on November 18th, and um, we're going to talk together a little bit about saying no to toxic habits. Like, what are those habits in your life that affect how your life functions and how happy you are and how stress free you are? I read this quote and I thought it was a great one. It says, losing will not always amount to a loss. Sometimes you have to lose those toxic relationships and bad habits to create a space for better things. So, what habits cause you the most, for instance, negative self talk, like we talked about yesterday? For a lot of us, it's health issues, how much we're exercising, or what we eat. Um, it could be gossip that we participate in. What are the habits that you have that really affect your own or cause your own negative self talk? What are the habits that make your life more difficult or add more stress? I think about a classic one, procrastination, right? We put things off, and then suddenly we're totally stressed because we have this project or this task to get done in a short amount of time. Or what are the habits that negatively affect your relationships? It might be a habit of complaining, of whining, of nagging, of not treating people well. What are those habits that affect you? Um, it could be the habit of overspending that affects your relationships. We're going to talk about that one all by itself tomorrow because as you head into the Christmas season, that's a real key. But we all have habits, things that we do that really aren't healthful for us. And I'm not just talking about physical health, I'm talking about soul, spirit, mind, all of those portions of us that make up who we are. So, how do we learn to say no to toxic habits? Well, here's the first one I would say: speak it out loud, or at least on paper. Write it down or say it out loud to yourself. Some way, acknowledge it because we can't fix what we refuse to acknowledge. So tell yourself, this is a problem for me. This is a habit I want to get rid of. This is a habit that is causing me stress, or this is a habit that's hurting my relationship with my spouse or my children or my boss or my coworkers. This is a habit that is causing me to speak badly about myself. Name the habit on out loud or on paper. Then as a Christian, as somebody who follows Jesus, I would say pray about it and pray about it regularly. Talk to God about what it is that causes that this habit is that you want to change. The next thing I would say is to find an accountability buddy. Now, it's really important. Buddies are great because they can help hold us accountable. They can help us to walk through something. They can ask the right questions. They can come in and talk to you about it. But you really want to make sure you choose wisely. You can choose somebody who's so harsh with you that you just don't want to do it at all, and it kind of pushes you against it. Or you can choose a buddy kind of like my friend Denise. Years ago, we joined this organization that was called TOPS. Take Off Pounds Sensibly is what TOPS stood for. Denise and I, we were supposed to be accountability partners, but often we just ate together, and we used to call it put on pops, put on pounds sensationally. So like that kind of an accountability partner, yeah, doesn't really help you if you don't have somebody who will actually help hold you to your commitments to change habits. The next thing is replace it with a good habit. Don't just try to eliminate it. Try to think of, instead of worrying, there's another bad habit. I am going to instead choose gratitude. I'm going to write about things I'm grateful for every time I start to worry, or I'm going to pray every time I start to worry, or I'm going to quote a Bible verse every time I start to worry. Think of a good habit you can replace that with. Then the next thing is to recognize your triggers, and that's going to be different for each one of us. Like, what if it's a health thing, if it's what you eat? What are the foods you really can't have in your house? That is different for each one of us. Know what that is for you. Recognize your triggers. If you're a person who complains a lot, recognize what are the things that cause you to complain. Is there a certain thing that causes that? Or do you complain more when you're tired? Or like me, do you end up on this downward spiral when you're tired? Know what those triggers are so that you can then avoid them. Obviously, like we tell people who are alcoholics to avoid going to a bar, we can also make those kind of changes in our own mind for things that cause us to trigger us. If you're a worrier and you have friends who are also worrier, that might be a time to step back a little bit from that relationship so that you don't end up being triggered into becoming a whiner or a complainer or a worrier like they are. And that kind of leads to the next one, which is to hang out with people who have the good habits you want. You know, my friends who hang out with runners often become runners. Trust me, if you're a runner and I hang out with you, it's never going to happen. But pick people who have good habits you actually would like to develop and hang out more with them. It's that whole thing we talked about the other day. Bad company corrupts good morals. Good company helps us to make wise decisions. So who are the good company people that you need to hang out with so that you can conquer these bad habits? And then use the word but to help overcome negative self-talk when you mess up. So rather than saying, I'm fat and it never is going to happen, I'm never going to lose weight, you might still want to say, I'm fat, but, or you might say, rather, let's go before the but, or I eat poorly. That might be a better way to say it than just calling yourself fat. I eat poorly, but I can choose to change that. That but indicates that this may have been the way I chose things in the past, but this is the way I can choose going forward in the future. So rather than get caught up in that negative cycle and also calling yourself names, choose the poor behavior. It's what we tell people with their kids, right? Don't say to your child, you're a liar. You say, you lied. We can do the same thing to ourselves. We don't say, you're disgusting. We say, or you're overweight, or you're this. You can say, you chose to eat poorly, but you can choose to improve on that. And here's some ways I can do that. Talk to yourself in a kind way, but in a positive way of these are the good habits that I'm headed towards. Anyway, I hope that helps as you think about bad, toxic habits that make our lives more stress-filled and less joyful and that harm our relationships. And I hope that some of those hints have helped you today. Tomorrow, as I said, we're back with toxic spending. So looking forward to being live with you, although it'll be recorded live. It will still be live me, but recorded for you because I am working tomorrow at the wonderful Bunyad Fair Trade Store. So, hey, anytime you're in Lidditz, come visit me. And have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.